Greetings folks and welcome to the Electromaker Show. This is your roundup of all things Maker and embedded and lovely. And on this week's show, Nordic Semiconductor and Neuton AI are now one thing, and that's amazing. Neuton AI is a no-code AI platform if you're not familiar with it. Very special because you can deploy their models onto truly tiny microcontrollers. We'll also be talking about the Shenzhen Maker Faire because Electromaker were there this year. I couldn't go personally, but there is some fantastic footage of Electromaker interviewing people over there on the floor at the Shenzhen Maker Faire. We'll be talking about that too. And of course, our product of the week, the Husky Lens 2, which is a little module which is for Vision AI, which is also no code, very easy to use, and probably the easiest way you can add something to your own project. And as always with our product of the week, you can win one. So with all of that to get through and more, let's get on with the show. We're going to start this week's show with the news that Nordic Semiconductor and Neuton AI are now one unit. Nordic has acquired Neuton, and if you're not familiar with Neuton, they are a no-code AI platform. There are other similarities out there. The big similarity that usually comes to mind is Edge Impulse. However, the thing that makes Neuton unique is that they have come up with a completely different way to create these AI models and deploy them onto microcontrollers, and they can deploy them onto incredibly small microcontrollers. I've seen their models deployed onto 80 mega 328p chips, the ones that you found in the old school Arduinos. But now, with Nordic acquiring them, things are going to get very, very interesting indeed. So the acquisition was initially talked about in June this year, but now there is not only the news that Neuton is being acquired by Nordic, but a little idea about what the future might look like. So the initial press release says pretty much the same thing, unleashing ultra-efficient and easy-to-use machine learning on the edge with Nordic's groundbreaking NRF54 series. Just a quick reminder, if you've ever used the NRF 52840, which is just ubiquitous, it is everywhere, this is going to be the drop-in replacement for it. It is faster, it uses less power, it brings all of the functionality and the cheap cost of the original NRF52 series with a lot of nice extra stuff on the side. We've talked about this in the past. I can always link a great interview I had with one of the Nordic engineers at Embedded World if you would like to see that as well. So they announced an acquisition of the intellectual property and core technology assets of Neuton AI, a pioneer in fully automated TinyML solutions for edge devices. Now, this press release talks about all of the good things that you would like to know about Neuton, but I think for us, we'd like to get into the details about what this might actually look like to use. Now, I will, of course, leave a link to this press release under this video, but if you'd like to see what this looks like in action, I'll also leave a link to the new Edge AI page on the Nordic Semiconductor site, which gives an overview as to why you might want to use Edge AI on a Nordic system on chip. But I assume that most people watching this show will at least have a rough idea about what deploying AI on the edge will mean. In brief, if this really is the first time that you are coming across the concept of AI on the edge, it is the fact that these small devices are powerful enough, if you have the right kind of models, to do certain AI tasks on the device using very low power without needing to speak to the cloud. This can be very good for numerous reasons. Maybe there's security reasons behind it. Maybe you just want to have something that is not a connected device at all. It's just working in situ in a home or in a factory. And as you're going to see in the example I just gave, these things can be used in even very day-to-day devices like gesture recognition and things like that. But what I'd like to draw your attention to is this particular video, which I think is the perfect introduction to what Neuton is, what it can do with Nordic's things, and also has a wonderful and extended interview between a Nordic developer, Robin, who you've seen on our channel before. He's given various demos at tech fairs we've been to, and one of the developers from Neuton. So this particular talk gives a little bit of an example about what Neuton can do. As you can see here, the average model size achieved by the Neuton neural network framework is less than 5 kilobytes, which is perfect if you're working with MCUs or anything with very small amounts of flash space. So it's saying it's up to 10 times smaller and more efficient compared to other convolutional neural networks while retaining the same or better accuracy. It has automatic dynamic growth of deep neural networks until it achieves the maximum generalization ability and accuracy, and it is 10 times faster because of the neuron neuron by neuron approach, which ensures that only the necessary connections are made, which lowers inference times. Now, obviously, I don't have the sound on in this particular video because I'd like you to go and watch it yourself. But one of the things that Robin is saying at the start of this is that this will run on even Nordic's NRF52 series, the lowliest chips they have. As I've mentioned, the NRF54 is a drop-in replacement, but the NRF52s are still around. Many of us have lots of them in a drawer somewhere, and knowing that you can run Edge AI even on these small devices is incredible. For this particular test, they will be using the Thingy 53, which has the NRF53840, which was the previous flagship Nordic Semiconductor chip. It is an incredibly powerful system on chip and absolute overkill for the demo they're about to show. But yeah, I thought it was worth mentioning that what they're showing in this demo can be deployed to very, very small hardware indeed. As for the demo itself, if we jump through to here, if you look in the top corner of the video, you will see that he is holding the Thingy 53 in his hand, and he is moving it with different gestures, up and down, left and right. And this music player in the center of the screen is skipping tracks back and forth, volume going up, volume going down, pausing and unpausing. And this is connected to his computer via Bluetooth. And this demo is showing you from scratch how you can start with a Thingy 53 development kit and do this yourself. Now, gesture recognition is actually quite a tricky beast. If you've ever tried to use just a simple IMU and a microcontroller to make some kind of gesture recognition, you'll realize that the signal you get from the IMU needs filtering, and you will need a way of actually working out exactly what you are trying to do. And once you get beyond one or two gestures, that gets difficult very quickly. The beauty of this is that you will see there's a full README that he will be going through. This is a full demo that you can follow yourself from this video or from the associated materials that he gives. You can train the model yourself by holding it and doing your own gestures, and those are the things that will end up going into the model on the device. So this is a fantastic step-by-step idea of how you could be using Neuton alongside your Nordic SoCs, and all the way through to around about 45 minutes of this video. It is a 45-minute demo. This is exactly what he's doing. He's showing you how you can use the Neuton dashboard, something that I had a little fiddle with before when I was previously dealing with Neuton, and we'll come on to that in just a moment. And exactly how you can get this completely trained and put together without actually having to do any coding of the AI model itself. So all of the coding that you're doing here is just the bootstrapping of getting the device up and running and then flashing it. You're not having to write any of this AI code from scratch. And as previously mentioned, the one part of this video that I have not seen so far because I had limited time to actually look at it, but I'm very much looking forward to it, is the extended interview between Robin from Nordic and the developer from Neuton, whose name I have just forgotten once again. Daniel, that's his name. Professional video person, by the way. I read that name twice just before starting and managed to forget it both times. I apologize if you see this, Daniel. But yes, this is the one part that I haven't had the chance to see myself yet, but I am very excited to hear this because I love hearing developers from one company speak to developers from another, because they're not going to be giving the usual interview questions that someone like I might give. If you are an engineer or you are really interested in the important questions surrounding this kind of stuff, these are the kind of interviews that really pay, because you're getting two people who are very knowledgeable about a thing, talking about the things that matter in a way that is understandable to those who are maybe at the start of their journey. So yes, that is the main thrust of why the best way I think to find out about Nordic and Neuton. But there is a bunch of other materials here as well. If you're interested, there's a set of benchmarks here, and if you're already an engineer working on something, this is something you might want to jump straight to. And there's a load of different demo videos and use cases here on the Nordic website, but also on the Nordic YouTube channel. And by the Nordic channel, I meant the Neuton AI YouTube channel. It's all a little confusing now because there's a big Nordic logo on the Neuton AI YouTube channel for obvious reasons. They are now one entity. The Nordic channel has a wealth of different ideas for things you could do with Neuton, along with talks and walkthroughs of how these things can work. They have been very busy with the video side of things, which I think is very nice, because I don't know about you, but I personally really like putting something on which might not be directly in line with something I'm working on right now, but something I may want to work on in the future, so I have a rough idea about how I could get started with it and the potential use cases for it when I do. We also here at Electromaker have some previous experience of doing things with Neuton. On the Neuton channel from 3 years ago, we actually partnered with them for the Neuton Maker Day. I was the host. In fact, there I am looking slightly more beardy than now here in the Attic of Dreams, as the host of the Neuton Maker Day, which was a massive example of how Neuton can be used by everybody pretty much. The idea was very simple. You have to come up with an idea that uses Neuton and then present it, and this was the presentation of all of those, and there were some nice prizes given away by Arduino and things like that. This was a really fun event to be a part of, and all of the projects that were in this particular video can be found here on the Electromaker Project website. So once again, if you'd like even more examples of what Neuton is and how easy it is to use, you can come through to here and see a wide example of different projects, some of them smart home, some of them very practical, more based on things like predictive maintenance. I know one of these projects was literally based in the cellar of the building that they were working with to try and diagnose what was going wrong with the water pump in their domestic building, which is just an incredible use case for what are widely available hobby electronics, essentially. And the fact that now it's been moved from this to being partnered with Nordic, who are one of the biggest names in the game, I think is a very exciting thing. So if you would like to find out more, head to nordicsemi.com, where you will find out all the things I was just talking about, along with the full fleet of Nordic's products, all of which, as you would imagine, would be perfect to pair with Edge AI, given that Neuton's AI runs on such low-powered hardware if it needs to, and even the lowest of Nordic's hardware tends to have quite high functionality. And yeah, the way that this fits together is quite nice in my opinion, because again, Neuton can work on an incredibly low amount of hardware overhead, which means that whatever project you're working on could benefit from Edge AI and get much more functionality out of it without actually using up much of your precious flash or RAM space. And if you would like to find out more about it, head to all of the links just below this video that I have already quoted in this section. As always, I would massively appreciate it if you took the time to like this video, make sure you're subscribed to this channel, but definitely take a look at electromaker.io/shop. Our online store is the primary way that we are trying to fund Electromaker. We do take sponsorships from companies every now and again in terms of videos, but we do not make any money from YouTube and YouTube advertising. So really the main way that you can support us if you enjoy the things that we make is to buy stuff from our online store. There is a vast variety of things in there from the first hobby kits that you could buy for people maybe as a gift, through to industry standard modules and development kits. And of course, if you need a lot of something, please do give our shop a call, because we can source large amounts of components for companies as well, if that is something required. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and yes, let's get back to the show. It is time to talk about our product of the week, which is the Husky Lens 2. Now, this is an Edge AI camera module that you can use with pretty much any project. But what makes it really unique is that it is the first module I've seen that has a button on it that just does everything. And that might sound a little bit over the top and ridiculous, but this really is somewhat the case. And because the module itself, which we're going to look at in a moment, and of course Robin has the full video on, has a button on it that allows you to simply point at an object, press the button, and the Husky Lens will learn what that object is. And as always, we will be giving one of these away. I'll give you details as to how you can enter that competition in a moment. However, as always, there is the full blog post and video from Electromaker. Robin has made a wonderful video about this that goes through all of the details in, well, more detail than I am about to. But in short, you have this small module which is designed to work with pretty much anything. You can communicate with the module via I2C, UART, USB. You can even attach a separate Wi-Fi module to it so that you can stream data from it to a Wi-Fi network of your choice. The interesting thing as well here is that it has this 2 megapixel camera on it, as you can see, but this 2 megapixel camera can be swapped out for a bigger one if you wanted to. It is a removable module, and you can change what kind of camera that you use. Another thing that is worth mentioning is it has a 1 watt speaker integrated into it as well, so you can use that to actually give audio cues as to what is happening in terms of recognition on the camera as well. So it uses a Kendrite RISC-V processor, which is one that I had never heard of before, and as Robin says in the video, as an engineer He had never come across it before, but it's a quite powerful little RISC-V system on chip, giving up to 6 TOPS of AI performance, and it has various built-in accelerator engines as well. Now, as always, if you want to know the full rundown of this, please do head to Robin's video. He tells you everything you need to know about it, potential use cases for it, and why this might be the first AI module that is the perfect candidate for teaching other people about Edge AI, which I thought was a very interesting thing and something that had not occurred to me until I'd watched Robin's fantastic video on the subject. If you would like to get your hands on a Husky lens, they are available via the link in this blog post, which I will of course be linking just below. This links out to the DF Robot site for it, and they currently cost $74.90, which seems a relatively low price for everything that you are getting. Oh, did I forget to mention that there is a screen on the back so you can see in real time exactly what the camera is seeing, whether it is connected to a Raspberry Pi, an Arduino, or anything else or not. So yes, you can buy one there, or you can of course enter our giveaway and win a Husky Lens 2 for yourself. You do that by heading to the YouTube video. You can find that on our YouTube channel, or by simply clicking the YouTube video title in the blog post and leaving a comment saying what you would do if you won one, and we will be announcing the winner of that competition soon. But with Edge AI and computer vision becoming a standard even in the very small microcontroller world, seeing something like this, which is incredibly easy to use and could be deployed by engineers as a simple no-nonsense way of adding computer vision to a project, or used in an educating or hobby sense, this seems like a really well thought out and put together product. And it's something that I didn't get my hands on one myself to get to play with. But every now and again, when these Product of the Weeks come out, I do feel that itch to get a hold of one myself and just see what I can do with it, because I can think of several use cases, even up here in the attic of dreams, for why I might want to have something like this. And if you think of something like that as well, of course, head straight to the YouTube video here and say what you would do with it, because that might mean that you win one. All links, as always, will be in the description of the video. Now we're going to talk about Electromaker's recent journey to China, because Rich from Electromaker went over to Shenzhen Maker Faire and had the most wonderful experience. Met a lot of locals from the Chinese maker community, but also, since it was the combination of the Bay Area Maker Faire and the Shenzhen Maker Faire this year, just a huge wealth of really interesting people. I will point out, by the way, it wouldn't be an Electromaker show if the Attic of Dreams wasn't beset at all sides by noises. There are people doing some works outside. I have every kind of noise suppression thrown at this microphone that I can, but if it sounds like someone is cutting trees not too far from this building, it's because someone's cutting trees not too far from this building. Now, to get a general overview of what Rich's experience was like, he has written up a blog post on the Electromaker blog, which, as always, will be linked in the video description below. It's quite a long blog. It covers quite a lot. I'm not going to sit and read a blog post to you. I don't think anybody would be too interested in that. Although, if you would, please do leave a comment. Maybe that could be a little side series. But this is the Maker Faire blog that he wrote, which covers a huge amount of information. Things like exactly what happened on the event on any given day, timelines of things, the kind of hands-on workshops you may expect, and also things that were happening as satellite events throughout the city of Shenzhen. And by the way, if I am pronouncing Shenzhen wrong, please do correct me in the comments. I do like to try and pronounce things right. I know it's a bit of a running joke at this point that I get it wrong sometimes, but yes. There's a few things here that really jumped out to me. Before we move on to the YouTube side of things, because there's a lot of interviews and things that he took when he was there, some familiar faces as well. Some people we met in Portland were out there as well. But there was two things that really jumped out to me. One was him saying that, for me, the Chinese maker community stood out the most. Rich was saying just the sheer breadth of people out there who were interested both on a sort of industry scale, trying to make it their careers, and just on a hobby scale, working at an incredibly high level, is incredible. And the amount of people that just threw their passion into projects and have that very same ideology of just work at it, fiddle with it, learn how to use it, and then get better at it and slowly iterate over it. And just to be able to see that entire maker perspective reflected in an entirely different part of the world, it was just a really wonderful thing for him. Something that I wish that I could do at some point. Who knows? Maybe next time I'll go out to Shenzhen Maker Faire as well. The other thing here that really jumped out to me is the theme here was AI without borders, rebirth of all things. Now, AI has become such a touch point for discussion and argument over recent years, and there are very good reasons for that. And I don't think this is the place for me to give any kind of dive into my real feelings about AI in general, because they are complicated. And I think yours should be complicated too. There is no catch-all good or bad answer here. But one thing that I think everybody can agree with is that the idea of taking this concept away from the huge data centers in the cloud and putting it into federated small objects that have their own sensors on board that do things is absolutely a good thing, and it is an expression of the wonderful technology that AI is. And it was everywhere across this Maker Faire. And I'm, again, not going to go into the specific projects. I'm just so glad that it's being embraced in such a widespread way. Because if you don't need to use AI in your project, don't. But as we've already talked about today, you can add an AI model to a project for almost no cost overhead in terms of power and in terms of space, and really up the user interactions with it. That gesture sensor we talked about earlier, computer vision doesn't have to be entirely used for security and in large scale things and cameras across countries. You can have it in your own devices for doing very simple tasks and adding a lot more functionality to your projects. And this was shown absolutely throughout the Maker Faire in the projects that Rich has seen. However, by far, I think the best way to get a taste of what it was like to be at the Shenzhen Maker Faire if you were not able to attend like myself is to go to our YouTube channel. Just in the top of the first paragraph here, the end of the first paragraph here in the blog post, there is a link to our YouTube channel, and this is Rich's Shenzhen playlist. And there are many wonderful interviews here. As I mentioned, if I remember, KVM Go, this is Billy, who runs this project, if I remember correctly. He's someone who I met in Portland, who also did that wonderful little tiny KVM device that we've featured on the show in the past. If I remember, I'll stick a link to that in the description as well. And these are all absolutely worth having a look at. And this is something that I think is just such a nice idea, and I'm so glad Rich decided to do it. This is just a full 25-minute walkthrough holding the camera of the Maker Faire in Shenzhen, giving a real nice idea of the scale of the place, how it was laid out, what you would expect there, the kind of people you would meet. And I'm so happy when people do this, because it really does give you a taste of what it feels like to actually be at these events, rather than just the interviews that you may see people like me giving to people. And so, yeah, if you would like to get that experience, you can come to this link here. Like I say, it's the one linked from the blog post. I will link both the playlist and the blog post in the description, and hopefully remember to link anything else I have mentioned as well. But yes, I'm so happy that Electromaker is still making its way out to Maker Fairs. We were also at Maker Faire Rome. I personally haven't been able to get out to any of these events recently for a variety of reasons. I'm really hoping that I get to go out to either Maker Fairs or other conferences soon and give those interviews again, because it really is a truly fun thing to do. And who knows, maybe I'll see one of you lovely lot out there as well. That has been our show for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for your patience as we work out this new rhythm for how the Electromaker Show is going to work. There have been a fair few changes behind the scenes, both in my life and in the way I work with Electromaker recently, and that has meant that my output has been much less. But for as long as there is an Electromaker Show to make, I will be very happy to make it. Thank you for sticking with me through all of the times that I have had long periods of time off the camera, and I look forward to talking about exciting things. And we have another show coming up relatively soon after this one, because there was far too many things to fit into this one, which should be coming out in a week or so. But for now, thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a fun, safe and creative week. Take care.